Hey everybody, this is Mickey G.
And I'm Rodney T.
And welcome to this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School.
Hey, Rodney, we had that show a little while back talking about when old school needs to sit down. And I got a candidate, and it's not really a person, but an institution. And that's the U.S. Postal Service. I'm old school. I go to the mailbox every day to check my mail. I get angry when the mail is running late. I feel like I've missed something on a holiday when the mail doesn't run at all. But every day on my walk back from the mailbox to the house, I have that same conversation. There isn't anything in these letters and flyers of any substance at all. It's really just almost all junk mail. And I know we've got friends that worked for the Postal Service and retired from the Postal Service. But, back in the day when we got our income tax refund, you look forward to going to the mail. Yeah, and I must admit, during, birthdays and holidays, you get nice cards and things like that in the mail. But I want to ask you, in the last 10 years, have you gotten anything of real substance in the mail where you just was checking the mail every day, just couldn't wait for it to come in?
Yes and no. I go to the post office to get stamps because I still mail I don't do my bills online. I'm old school, and I'll go in there and do that. But other than that, nah, man, I haven't gone to get any packages or anything.
Because it seems like all I get in the mail now is junk mail. Back in the day when you waited for your income taxes come in the mail, your check to come in the mail, or like I say, you paid a lot more bills through the mail and things of that nature. You could go to the mailbox and thinking you were going to have something in there really that, you were really waiting for. But it seemed like lately, if it ain't, 85% junk mail, or, you get explanation of benefits from healthcare if you go to see somebody in healthcare, or flyers from companies and charities. Because I've gotten stuff from charities for donations that I have. Some of them I don't even know what they are. I'm like, well, I got one from the Neptune Society. I said, what the hell's a Neptune Society? And how did they get my address, your name?
I'm serious, man. I honestly believe because when you search a little bit out online, boy, they got their radar up on behind so much, man. They just get our information from everywhere. I try to catch it whenever I'm doing something. I try to say, no, I don't want you sharing my email address with anybody or anything like. But then it comes in the mail. I just don't understand it myself. But no, I still get my bills in the mail because I still pay them the regular way. But I get 3 times more junk than I do that. I have to be careful not to throw away one of my bills because I'm so used to just grabbing and throwing it in the trash because it's a bunch of trash is what it is.
Yeah, and I've given to like the disabled veterans, and I'm given to USO and some of those organizations, and I guess once you make a donation, you're on their mailing list forever. And some of the stuff that they've sent here, like I forgot which one of them sends out requests for donations, and one of them had a check for like $1.25 that you could pay. One of them had a nickel, glued to the thing, and I'm saying to myself, how much money are they putting into this check for $1.25 to everybody, and this nickel that's glued? One of them, I think it was a DAV, someone sent me one the other day that had a pair of gloves, the kind of work gloves kind of things in them, and some pins, and I'm just saying to myself, how much money are they spending on this stuff? And I, when I make a donation, I make one donation a year. That's what I do at the very beginning of every year. I make my donations to these organizations, and I really just started doing that over the last few years because I used to all do everything through combined federal campaign.
Right.
I made that donation, and I didn't didn't make no more. I felt like that was my part. But I started doing individually after that. And but once you start, boy, you just keep getting stuff and you keep getting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just wondering how much money they're spending sending out that kind of stuff and how much they get in return for donations for all that stuff that they sent out. And
well, half of it probably is for 10 people, take 10 people. If you get 4 of them to donate $50 or $60, that almost pays for it, sending that little enticement out to get you to try to do something. But unlike you, I used to give to CFC, and once I retired, of course, that stopped. And then one that I still donate to, I haven't really checked to see about sickle cell, but I finally went ahead and did that donation a few years ago to St. Jude's.
Right.
And because every time I see that little commercial, used to pull at the heartstrings, with the little kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally started donating, and I said, well, I don't want to be messing with this. So I went ahead and set it up to where they charge my credit card once a month. And now that shows you how old school I am. I won't make my bills automated, but I do everything else automated. And so they do that, and I'm still getting letters from them asking for donations. And I'm like, wait a minute now. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and increase this donation. I've been doing it for the same amount for about 2 years. I said, I think I'm gonna go ahead and up that a little bit. But hell, they pissing me off, sending all of them like I ain't giving them nothing. And I was like, okay, all right. So now, if it ain't got Oklahoma Gas and Electric, and my bank that I'm paying for my house on, that shit going in the trash. I ain't finna do all that. And the veterans are killing me now. Every time I turn around, there's something in the mail from them, and I'm like, okay, man, give me a break.
Yeah, I get those too from the different organizations, and there's a few of them that are similar in the sort of the title of the charity, but they're not the same one.
Yeah.
And I found that out the hard way one year when I made a donation, and then I guess it was a couple of weeks later I got another request. I'm like, well, I just gave y'all something, and I went back and looked at my checkbook. I wrote them a check to see how much I'd sent. I'm like, oh man, that's not the same organization. Their name was a little bit different.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. I from my old college that I went to, I think every time they got those people watching every time they hear their name or something, because I get those endowments, want me to will my money to them when I die. Even the Air Force homes, they want you to, they send the thing and want you to will over money to them. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's gonna be the case right there. I'll give you a little money, but I ain't finna. They want you to do an annuity or something to them for a certain amount of money if you pass away. And I'm like, nah, bro, that ain't gonna happen. But hell, I guess they say if you don't ask, you don't never know.
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess that's some of it too, and some of the same thing happens with my email now. I mean, I get all this spam email, and it's from people overseas touting these miracle cures for things and stuff like that. And once again, I'll be saying, now, how did they get my email address? And you go in and it always has that little unsubscribe link at the very bottom. You have to scroll all the way down, because I'm saying to myself, well, if I don't unsubscribe, they're gonna just keep sending me stuff. And you go in and you unsubscribe, and some of them will come up and say something like, oh, we hate to see you go. And I'm like, hate to see me go? I didn't ask for this to start with, And then some of them will say, oh, please give us 14 to 21 days to take you off the list. I said, I bet you didn't take you 14 to 21 days to put me on your list.
Exactly.
And all they basically saying is between that 14 and 21 days, you gonna get some more.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, I've done it. And then they when you do try to go to the page for unsubscribing, the fine print is so fine. If I don't have my glasses around, I can't see it. I'm like, boy, they make it hard for you to unsubscribe on this because they want to keep on anymore. Now I can almost just look at it and tell. I just click delete. I don't even waste my time opening them because Lord knows where it's coming from, because I'll even ask when I go in the store and the first thing they want, well, what's your email address? I'm like, nope, I don't give that out. Then they'll come back with, well, sir, we have to have your email address. I'm like, no, you don't. I said, but since I'm not going to be uncooperative, I said, so who do you sell my email address to? Then all of a sudden they can accommodate me by not asking me for it.
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm sick of this, man. I finally got to a minimum. I got so many block numbers on my phone from all these solicitors that the last time I tried to use it, it said you cannot block any more numbers. You're gonna have to delete some of the numbers you got on there. I'm like, oh man. So I deleted it, and then here they come.
Yeah, because I tried that, no more robocall, the national do not call list, and I tried all those different things and still get calls. And the thing about, as they got smarter with stuff, it started to come up with phone numbers that were local numbers, because most of back in the day, it seemed like all the spam calls were 800 numbers or 88 numbers. But they started coming up with local numbers. I've gotten, numbers that pop up on the caller ID from the VA hospital down here. So I'm thinking, oh, they must be calling me about an appointment. Pick up the phone. First of all, you don't hear anything. You hear this silence.
Yeah.
Or in some cases, you hear all this noise and people talking in the background. So I know right then it's a robo kind of call. And then when the voice finally does come on, you can tell it ain't nobody probably that lives in our country from the accent and stuff. And I'm thinking, now, how did this come up as a call from the VA hospital? Well, they gotten smart with their technology to where, they don't come up as 800 numbers anymore.
Yeah, exactly. What they've started doing, especially if it's an organization, is they issue the employees that they have soliciting, they issue them phones so that it'll come up as here, it'll come up as a 405 number. So if you think, you think it's local, but then when you get on there, it's not local.
Mm-hmm.
And so now my thing is any 405 number call come in, if it's not in my phone, because I got everybody that I talk to logged into my phone, saved into my phone. And if it don't come up with the name of who I know is calling me, I don't answer it. I just let it go to voicemail, because if it's somebody I miss that I do know, they'll leave a message so I can call them back. But yeah, everything. We have even cities up here calling. Well, I don't know what they could be soliciting for, but we'll be sitting here and it'll say City of Yukon. Well, why is the City of Yukon calling me? So I just let it sit there, and in the phone, I just block them, and it's hilarious. But it ought to be a law against that mess, man. You can't get no rest.
And I used to get calls from the firefighters. Every year I get calls from the firefighters, and once again, they used to pretty much come up as 800 numbers, and they started coming up as local numbers. And there was a time, I must admit, once again, I would donate, because I would donate to them and things. And then I got to the point, like I say, where I, decide on other charities to give to. And one time, once again, local number. And I sort of do like you. I try not to answer anything that I don't have in my caller ID where it pops up the name of who's calling, So this time it was a local number. And once again, I answered it thinking maybe it was somebody local that really was trying to call. And as soon as I answer the phone, you gave to us last time and we depend on I'm like, oh God, it's the firefighters.
Yep.
And the thing that sort of put me out with them were, back in the day, and I keep saying back in the day, but the actual firefighters themselves used to call. Well, years ago, they went to a phone service, I guess you could say, where they were paying a contract to call you, and that's, that sort of pissed me off too. I mean, I know they're busy and they don't have time to, to be making phone calls and things, but I was like, well, back in the day, that's how y'all did it. They were actually firefighters from the local area or whatever that would call you. Well, now these are basically solicitors that are doing it for them, and they want to come off all, you helped us and we can't do it without you and that kind of thing. And I know we can depend on you this year because you're a great person and all this kind of thing. And I'm like, no, I ain't gonna be able to help you this year. I ain't gonna be able to. And it's like, well, damn. Why can't you help us? I'm like, wait a minute. What happened to that voice of we're so appreciative of what you've done for us? Now it's like, well, you done pissed me off now.
Yeah. They something else, man. They call here with that. I had the police call me one time and ask me all this and all that. Now, well, if I send you a packet out, will you send us a donation? I said, nope, I certainly won't. And I hung up the phone. But I had the best one is my brother told me about it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna use that the next time. They called him soliciting police thing called him and soliciting for donations, and they put it like, well, there's a lot of widows and orphans out there that could use your donation. He said, don't they have insurance? Boy, I was rolling. I said, I'm gonna use that one from now. Don't they have insurance? Surely y'all insure these people. So I was like, boy, that's pretty funny there. So I've yet to use it, and they have no shame, man.
No, and I'm sure when they started contracting those phone calls out, I'm sure they probably get some kind of percentage of actual donors, donations that are made.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure they're doing, they're going to put their best spill in to get people to make donations because that's more money for the contractor to get, with those positive donations. But yeah, it gets to a point to where there's a way around everything. I even noticed the other day on our home phone, and sometimes I even question why we still have a home phone because everything is done on cell phones these days and stuff, but we still keep one. And
so do we.
We got one of those, one that speaks to you when the phone call comes in, tells you, tell you who's calling and everything. And I think it was we have Comcast, and Comcast went to a new program to where if they feel the call is a what they call a verified call, somebody's in your, I guess your caller ID or whatever, then they'll go ahead and a VAR comes up on the screen. But if it's not, then they flag it as spam, then that comes up on the caller ID too. Well, the way the phone is, it don't know about all that technology. So the little lady's voice on the phone now, if the call is coming from wherever, she starts out by saying spam. But the spam runs into whatever the name of the call that's on the thing. So back in the day, we'd sit back and let it ring, and then we wait for the voice to say, John Smith or something, say for this. Yeah. Well, now she says spam John Smith, and it's all ran together. It's all ran together. So here I am now. I got to go over to the phone and look at the caller ID to see exactly, who it is that there is calling. Because there's like every now and then there is a call come in that we really need to take. But I'm like, this poor thing, she's putting spam in front of every name that comes up on the caller ID.
Oh yeah, it's something else, man. Hell, I just don't even. I look at the television screen. If I don't recognize it, I ain't answering it.
Yeah. We pretty much got to that point too, where if we don't recognize the call, we don't answer it. And I get calls from the RNC and the DNC and all these other places that come in all the time, and stuff. And I'm like, well, when they get your number, they go with it.
Oh yeah. Oh, funny story. Well, it ain't necessarily funny, but the coincidence you said that about the DNC. I was in Best Buy one day, and I forget what. I think I was buying another television or something. And so I was standing up there, and his sister was standing up there. So she was waiting on him to do something. So I was just waiting with her, and we were just standing there talking. It was right before the election. So she asked me, said, "Are you registered to vote?" I said, "Oh yeah, I've always been registered to vote." So we're talking and all that. And she's like, yeah, this election, this is an important election and blah, 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 and all of that. And that's when one of the politicians, what's his name? That was, he really wasn't a Democrat, but he was going to run for president at the time. But once he decided not to, he was going to donate a bunch of money. One of them rich dudes. Shit. What's
Yeah,
his name?
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of his name either. I know you're talking about though.
And so he was coming to speak. She said, "Are you going to come to hear him?" I said, "Not necessarily." I said, "As long as he donates his money, like he says." I said, "Hey, he's all right with me, but I'm not doing that." She goes, "Oh yeah." He said, "We're looking forward to him. We're gonna show him a good time here." I said, "Oh really?" I said, "So you involved with that?" She goes, "Yeah, I'm the Oklahoma DNC chairman." I was like, "Oh really? Okay." Now I done railed on. I done talked about politicians badder than a big dog here in Oklahoma and nationally. She said, "Yeah, I'm the chairman." I was like, "Okay." I said, "Well, tell old boy to make sure he give us that money because we can sure use it to get that idiot out of office that we're talking about." Yeah. So, what's that dude name? He's in New York. I think didn't he run for mayor? He ran for mayor one time, but he's got
uh,
got a newspaper too or something. A magazine.
yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about, but was it Bloomberg?
Yeah, that's
Bloomberg,
what it
Michael
was.
Bloomberg.
Yeah, and I was talking to her. Not that she couldn't have been the DNC chairman, but that would have been the last thing I would have thought she said she was. I said, "Oh man, boy, that lets you know you really need to be careful who you're talking to because you don't never know who you're talking to."
Well, yeah, that's the truth. You don't know who you might be having a conversation with. That's
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was funny.
But it's funny you talking about the home phones and things because I thought I told my wife, I said, when my mom got a cell phone, I knew right then everybody had a cell phone. So I don't know that we need to keep this house phone. And I don't know. I think it's just somewhat of being a little bit old school is why we still got one there. There's just times that I just feel like I need a home phone. I mean, I guess no more than that. I just feel like I need a home phone.
Oh yeah, me too. I actually I don't see myself getting rid of mine. I think it's one of the residuals of us being in the military. You had to have access to that recall or whatever possibility might come along. I try to talk my boys and it's like, "No, we don't have no landline." I'm like, "Boy, you need to get you a landline just in case." And then I even thought about it, like, just in case of what? Because if the landline is down, pretty much might be that your cell phone is down.
Yeah, because I know there's so much stuff. I mean, just the thought of a phone and the stuff that you can do on a cell phone is probably, I say, 10% phone and 90% apps. It's just so many other things that you can do on a cell phone that
Sure.
I know when we went and got one of the last vehicle my wife got it. I think it was the one before that. It didn't have navigation. Mm-hmm. I'm like, these days and time, every vehicle you buy has navigation. I said, no, we don't have navigation on there. He said, as a matter of fact, sir, a lot of our vehicles now are coming in without navigation because people have, navigation basically on their phone with Google Maps and things of that nature. And in many cases, they're more up to date than the navigation systems are in our vehicles. And that was before they were doing, the sort of you connected your car to the internet and they updated things that way. He said, a lot of times those phone navigation with the Google Maps and all is more accurate than what we got. And I'm like, okay. And my daughters are looked at me like, Dad, we don't need navigation. We got all that on our phone these days. I'm like, well, excuse me. I was about to tell the guy, well, no, if y'all can't put navigation on here, we ain't gonna buy it.
Yeah.
No, Dad, we ain't gotta have navigation anymore. We got all that on our phones now.
Yep. Hey, when me and my wife in the car and then that comes up, I'm punching the buttons up there on the navigation system. And she's like, here it is. This is where we're going. She already got it on the phone. I'm still waiting, so I don't know. I have to address that when I have to address it, but I kind of think I'm like you on that first one. I might have to go and get it put on there.
Yeah.
Just out of habit, And
it was funny. We went to Cincinnati back in, I think it was April. And, once again, in a city we hadn't been in before. So we was relying on the navigation. And this was, we were in Marion's truck and this one has, navigation on board and everything. Mm-hmm. But man, for some reason, that map in there wasn't wasn't getting us around Cincinnati, right? We got turned around somewhere. And I finally told one of the girls, I said, bring up Google Map and see how it tells us to get there. Man, it came with a whole different way to go. And I'm like, wait a minute, how can it be that much different? It ain't like there's 10 different ways to get there. But for some reason, it had a different way of going that didn't get us where we wanted to go. And they brought up Google Maps, and it was right there. I know what it was. We were getting out on the main highway that we took into Cincinnati, and there was an accident. Traffic was backed up forever. And we said, okay, you could put in, navigation, sort of how to get us around or don't take major highways or whatever. And that's what we did. We went in to do that. And he was like, well, you got to go here and here and here. And here. I said, it can't be that difficult. So they brought up their Google map, and she said, no, Dad, just go here and make a left and go down and we're good. Like, okay. But yeah, it's not always the greatest, because I think I told you that time we went up to Gatlinburg. Well, actually, it was Gatlinburg. It was Gatlinburg. And first time we had been to this little resort they had up there that we were staying at, we was following GPS, and he got us all the way there. He said, go across the highway. We went across the highway, said, make a right, a left. We made a left. And all of a sudden, we was going up this basically one lane road up the side of this damn mountain. To the point that we said, we ain't going no farther. This can't be right,
Right.
So we got up to a point to where there was a little bit of a cutout in the road, that enough for us to back up. So I pulled in. We were driving. My daughter at that time, she had one of them full-size Dodge trucks. I mean, it was the full cab and everything. They're about 1.5 miles long. And I'm trying to turn this big ass truck around on this little old road. And we finally found this cutout. And, I don't know if you've ever been to the Gatlinburg Pigeon Fort area, but, you've got about an inch of a shoulder, and then you got about a 700-foot drop off.
Right.
So it's up in the mountains.
Right.
And man, I finally got around and got that truck turned around and headed back down that little narrow road. And we get back down to the almost to the end of the road, and the GPS says, turn left and you're at your destination. And I'm like, wait a minute. you kept telling us to go up that damn side of that mountain, but now we coming back down here, and you go tell us turn left and we're at the destination. Why didn't you say that when we were down here the first place?
Right.
And you're talking to this machine like it's a human, But yeah, man, you got to be a little careful with them navigation systems, because they ain't 100% all the time.
Oh, no doubt. And what I do is I just renew my Chevy puts out that damn, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Boy, I can't remember nothing no more.
Join the crowd. I'm same way.
Yeah, man. But it's the GM product where they monitor everything. But anyway, I use it turn by turn with them.
Right.
And that's been pretty good. And the reason I got that turn by turn was because generally everywhere I go, I know where I'm going. I don't really need it. So when it comes time to use it, then it's like, okay, now what did I do the last time? So I said, okay, the heck with that. I just pushed that little OnStar.
Right.
I push OnStar. She come on the phone. How can I help her? Hey, how do I get here? She give me turn by turn right there on the map, and it goes. And I initially got the turn by turn because they had that as an option on it. I didn't have it at first, and then they repackage it. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So they had it separate, and I got it because if Rosalind's not in the car with me, and all I got to do is push that button and say, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. But I had called them and asked them about sending out a disc to update the system. They said, we don't do that no more. She said, you'd be better off using your phone. I was like, give me a break. So I keep that turn by turn on there now. If I get somewhere and I hit that, and it brings it right up. Because when my son moved way on the other side of town to an area I don't even go in, and we were trying to get over there, I was like, hey, I pushed that button, told her where I was trying to go, send me right to it. So that's the only time I really use it. But I like having it in there just in case.
Yeah. I never used it that much. I think the only time that I really used OnStar, and at that time, actually, I didn't have it. I had a blowout out on 24. And I was trying to find the closest tow truck, to get towed in. And And I called the insurance company, and they were saying, "Well, do you have your OnStar on your vehicle?" I said, "Yeah, I got it, but I'm not subscribed to it." And they said, "Well, sometimes they'll, I guess, give you like an emergency pass or whatever to allow you to use it." So I used it that time to call a tow truck. But other than that, I never used OnStar a whole lot. During time we've had vehicles that had it on there for whatever reason. I mean, I guess in theory I didn't need it that much, but I never used that very much. But I know a lot of people that swear by it.
Yeah, I just use it. Like I said, when I was somewhere I was unfamiliar with, and but I mainly was using it too for. Well, I used to like it because they used to send me a report once a month about vehicle status.
Right.
Like oil, tires, all that good stuff. And but I mainly used it too when for towing. That was my secondary towing because my insurance companies got towing, and but I also use OnStar in case I couldn't get a hold of my insurance. What makes it so easy, all you have to do is hit the damn button, and there you go. Send me a tow truck. So it's got a couple of uses that I can get out of. Hopefully I won't have to. But then I went ahead and put my insurance company thing in my phone. So now I got access to that. But hell, believe it or not, I locked my phone up in the truck one day. Couldn't get so I couldn't get in my truck, man. I laid it down. I was putting some groceries in the back. I had stopped at this store. I laid my phone down inside the truck. Now, before I realized I hit the button, the doors went down. I'm trying to catch it. Man, I was like, damn. I had to call Roz and tell her, call USA. Now I told her to call OnStar. I don't know how I did it, but anyway, Rosin told me, she said, stand back from the truck. I'm like, well, what, they're shooting a laser down there or something? Well, she said the lady said, stand away from the truck. I was like, damn, let me get back. I might need one of them radiation belts or something to put on, Then I heard click. I was like, oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah, they can do it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But see, I don't think I've ever locked my phone in my vehicle before, but I have had the misfortune of putting my phone on the roof of a vehicle and driving off with it on the roof.
On the roof.
Oh yeah, drove off with it on the roof. Got down the road looking for my phone. Don't know where it's at. You're trying to think, well, where can I put it? Where can I put it? Where did I put it? And I thought about, oh man, I set it on the top of the roof of the car to put something in the car and forgot to take it off. So you trace your steps.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, just because you started off in one place, when they come off the roof of a car, it may be anywhere.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I never did find that phone. I never found it. And of course I had to call and, cancel the phone service for that phone and all that kind of stuff. And I guess either nobody else found it, or if they did find it, it was so mangled up they couldn't use it. Yeah, I've had that happen to me though. Hey brother, we've come to the end of another session. Thanks for joining us again. As always, this is Mickey G.
And I'm Rodney T.
And we'll see you next time.
Peace.